Hello everyone, I'm Andrew. Today's story is sponsored by SN Company, a new world you've never seen before. Now, let's get to the main topic. My sister, Nova, was adopted. My late parents once told me that when they first found her, her fur was matted, and she was so thin you could see the shape of her bones. They brought her home and cared for her with great patience, and over time, that gentle care shaped the fearless personality she has today. Father used to say that when Nova first came to our home, she would hide in a corner all day, trembling whenever she saw little G. It's hard to imagine now, the same Nova who runs wild all day, dragging me along with her, nothing like a lady at all. I never really understood what Father meant about Nova being timid, because she was 5 years older than me, and when she joined our family, I was just a newborn. It wasn't until I turned 12 that I truly understood. That day, I saw Nova sitting alone outside the shop. "Sis, what are you doing out here?" I asked. Nova looked up and said softly, "You know the family that runs the coffee shop next to the laundromat?" I nodded. "The Neils?" "Yeah, I really don't like them. Neil's little brother keeps stealing my erasers. They said I'm just an unwanted orphan, that the Gray family only took me in out of pity, and that I'm an ungrateful beast kin, which is why my personality is so awful." Her lips trembled as she lowered her head. I stared at her in shock. So even the strong, unshakable Nova had moments of weakness. But more than anything, I felt anger boiling inside me. How could they talk about my family like that? "Where are they?" I demanded. "At Uncle Joe's bookstore," Nova murmured. "Are you coming with me?" I crouched down in front of her. "Let's go teach them a lesson for bullying the Grays." "Don't go, Andrew. They're not wrong. I'm not really part of the Gray family." "Nova, I won't let you say that about yourself. Mom and Dad wouldn't either." I grabbed her hand, trying to pass her some of my warmth. "In my heart, you'll always be my sister, my real sister, and my best family. If you won't come with me, then I'll go by myself." I shouted and stormed off toward Uncle Joe's bookstore. "Andrew, wait." Nova stood up and hurried after me. As for what happened next, well, of course I lost. There was no way a scrawny 12-year-old like me could beat two strong dog-beast kin brothers. Neil was 17, and even his younger brother, 13, was bigger than me. In the end, Nova had to drag my bruised, swollen self back home. I cried the whole way, promising that next time, I'd definitely make them pay. And from that day on, I started learning boxing and working out. But I'm getting ahead of myself. When we got home, Father was tidying up the storefront. The moment he saw me, he nearly dropped what he was holding. "Andrew, what on earth happened to you? You've gone from gray to purple." I pouted and said, "Neil said Nova isn't really our family, so I went to teach them a lesson, but I lost." Then I looked up at him with teary eyes. If only I were stronger. I cried for a long time after that. Mother heard the noise and came out to see what had happened. After Father and Nova explained, she nodded, told Nova and the robot to tend to my wounds and watch the store, and then took Father with her to the Neil's coffee shop. I never found out exactly what they said that day, but the next morning, the Neils showed up at our door with their 2 sons, both bruised and swollen, bowing their heads to apologize. From that day on, for some reason, Neil started getting closer to our family. But my sister never warmed up to him, not even when he showed up one afternoon with a huge bouquet of roses, asking her out to the movies. I'm not particularly fond of Neil either. He's always pestering Nova, or asking me to deliver letters and messages to her. Sure, working out or exercising with him can be fun, but the moment Nova's name comes up, something just switches in him. He becomes weird. Anyway, let's talk about something else, like how my parents met. My father was a rare, human-dominant gray hybrid in the gray domain. Tall, handsome, and incredibly gifted with machines, he was sent by my grandparents to study at the White Domain Border Amnesty Academy. I graduated from there too, by the way, and that school is not easy to get into. First, your human gene purity must be at least 80%. Second, you have to be around 10 years old to enroll. Many children in the gray domain don't even make it to 5. But things are much better in our southern district. We have our own autonomous council, with all the basic infrastructure other areas lack: schools, hospitals, fire departments, police, even banks. But I'm getting off track again. In short, my father once had the chance to become a citizen of the white domain through the academy, but he gave it up because he met my mom. My mother was a border engineer from the white domain. She often saw strange and unfamiliar species from the gray domain, and that curiosity had always lived inside her. Then, one day, when she was sent to the academy to repair a system malfunction, she saw my father, and my father saw her. Every time they told that story, their faces would light up with smiles. It must have been one of those thunder and lightning, love at first sight kinds of romances. My father was 18, my mother 25. After he graduated, they eloped to the Southern District, bought a cheap little house, and started a grocery store, the very one we live in now. My father came from the Central region, and so did my grandparents. When they found out he'd run away to the South, they were furious. So furious they even threatened to cut him off. But my mother, with her disarming charm and unmatched diplomacy, won them over completely. Before long, they not only accepted her, they even helped my parents build their grocery business. After my parents passed away, my grandparents came to the funeral. Grandfather told me, with great sincerity, "If you ever find it too hard to keep going, come to us anytime. I'll always be grateful to them." When I was at the academy, they often took me shopping for supplies whenever I needed something. They used to say, "You're a good kid. Even though you've got the face of a gray alien, you're just like your father, honest and kind." Honestly, hearing them talk about my appearance always stung a little, but I knew their love for me was real. Still, I couldn't help feeling self-conscious about how I looked. When I was little, my father would sometimes sigh and say, "Your gene purity is 90% human, so how did you end up reverting?" Back then, I didn't know how to express myself. So whenever I heard that, I'd run off to complain to my mom. She'd immediately smack him with a hand chop, and he'd beg for mercy while I laughed through my sniffles. When I got older, I'd answer back instead, "No matter what I look like, I'm still your kid. Just accept it." He'd pause, then grin and say, "That's my boy, the old gray son. Quick on the uptake." But now, I can't see either of them anymore. Sometimes, I ask the household robot to play old recordings, just to see their faces again. That robot's been with us for years. My parents bought it secondhand when they first moved to the South, fixed it up, and it's been part of the family ever since. It always seemed to record things on its own, ordinary moments that ended up meaning everything. Like when Mom made a big pot of porridge and we all gathered around the table. Or when Nova was learning mechanical repair from Dad, her face serious and focused. Or when Mom and I sat together, quietly reading. I guess the robot's like our family's documentary director, always capturing the little things we didn't think mattered. The moments that, when time passes, turn out to matter the most. That's all for today's story. See you next time, my friends. Good night.